And these mass shootings are happening all over the world. There was one in Pike County, Ohio, where 8 people were killed. And then back in March, 32 people were killed, hundreds hurt in the Brussels bombing. Today, First News reporter Dan Marcel asked how people in the Mahoning Valley are responding to these attacks. Dan continues our team coverage live in studio tonight.
Well, Julie, WKBN producers were talking with relatives after the news broke this morning, and many questioned whether or not it was worth it to even go out, given the string of recent violence just in the last year, really. So we wanted to know if people in the Mahoning Valley were made more cautious about going out.
Shocked, but yet not surprised.
Just some of the words used to describe the mass shooting in Orlando, Florida, where a gunman killed 50 people inside a nightclub. Parishioners of the LGBT-friendly Unitarian Universalist Church in Youngstown say they aren't going to live in fear, but they do hope attitudes change.
We have to be reasonable about what's going on. Not everybody should have a gun, and we should have some regulation. I think most gun owners agree with that. If this doesn't wake people up to understand that we need to take a look at this issue, I'm not sure what will.
At that same church, Minister Matt Alspaugh says gun control is just the beginning of a much larger issue, one that needs to be examined immediately.
It's a much larger and more complex question than simply who gets guns. Even if you don't agree with the tenets and the ideas of different groups other than your own, how can we stay connected, love them, have a relationship with all people in this world?
When I talked to people in downtown Youngstown, everyone was horrified by today's events, but they aren't going to stop going to bars and night spots like those along Federal Street.
I'm not going to live my life in fear. I'm not going to back away from any of it. I'm not going to, because anything can happen at any point.
I try to always be self-conscious of like what's happening and not be too insecure.
Despite the tragedy that took place last night, it appears most people won't change the way they live. Now, what you didn't see in that story are the people that I spoke to that did not want to be on camera. I spoke to a number of them, and they all echoed very similar remarks that despite the tragedy and the loss of life, life will go on. For now, in the studio, Dan Marcel, WKBN 27 First News.